Hi, and welcome to Lecture 3 of the Gilded Age, entitled Native Americans. Today we're going to discuss the way the Native Americans were treated during the Gilded Age and up to the 20th century. So we're going to get started here. So the old way of treating the Native Americans was basically get them out of our way and put them into their great reservation that they had that we know located in Oklahoma. We called this the Great American Desert. Um, we felt that the land west between California and Iowa was kind of like a place to avoid, so it was easy for us to push Indians there. But as we come to find, there's a lot of resources and a lot of really great attributes to the land, and we kind of decide that we want to start settling it. So there's tons of buffalo, there's millions, and there are also a lot of Native Americans there because we had actually put them there. We talk about the buffalo a little bit, and I hope that you remember from like fifth grade when you guys talked about Native Americans a lot that the buffalo was like the main resource for the Native Americans. They lived off the buffalo. The buffalo was very, very important to their society. They used every piece of the buffalo. They gave them food, clothing, shelter, even fuel. They could burn the oil from the buffalo and make fuel from it. So we know that that's an integral part of their lives. They also had the horse. They had tamed the horse, even though it was brought by Europeans to the Americas. They had conquered it, tamed it, and used it for transportation. Gave them a lot of speed and mobility. Indians have a wandering way of life. They need a lot of area, a lot of land to support just a few people. They weren't like the European settlers that would establish a city or a village and they could live there and they could go hunt, bring food back, and live their lives. These people needed these open lands in order to maintain their lifestyle. They would go hunt and gather and move and migrate, and it's just the way that they had grown up and the way their society was built. So, in case you don't know what a buffalo looks like, here's a buffalo. Okay, big. You can see how huge it is and how much it could supply um, the Indian population with. Um, Americans, they treated the buffalo a little different. Here's an example. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, funny picture. All right, it's a joke. All right, so uh, we continue to move Indians westward. We move them onto their Great American Reservation where they go. It would be their one big reservation. All the Indians could live together. This is the 1820s. Okay, before the Civil War, before all that happened. Remember Andrew Jackson? They need removal. We're going to give them their own place to be, where they can all be together. Okay, and obviously it doesn't really necessarily work because Indians don't all necessarily like each other, but we felt they probably should. We have a new Indian policy emerging in the 1850s. We start to realize that that land's actually pretty nice. There's a lot of natural resources, the grasslands with all the animals, the buffalo. It's a good place to settle. So their one big reservation is now broken up into smaller reservations, so we can pick and choose which land we want as opposed to which land they want, or we want them to have. Um, so as we continue to move these people off their land, um, we continue to want to take advantage of the land that they're on. The biggest example of this is near the end of the Indian role in society, and the fact that we kind of just started pushing them away and away and back and deeper. We eventually pushed the Sioux tribe into the South Dakota Black Hills, but gold was discovered in the hills, and obviously we wanted to take the gold from them. So General Custer, who had 250 or so troops, went in there and he's like, I want to take this gold. I want to be able to take their land. He's told not to attack, but he goes in. He's like, you know what? I'm going to attack. So he attacks and he ends up fighting 2,000 Native Americans. Really not the smartest move by him, even though they have better weapons and more modern techniques as far as battle goes. They were no chance for 2,000 Native Americans. Every single one of Custer's men dies, and it's all out of greed in order to get the gold that was in the Black Hills. The U.S. responds by sending half of the army to get revenge. This revenge is known as Wounded Knee. And basically what they do is they go in and they're kind of outside the Indian camp, the Sioux camp, and they have a ton of soldiers and they're there, and they accidentally someone fires a shot, and we've learned from this in history, when you accidentally fire a shot, chaos can break out. Same thing happened with the Boston Massacre, uh, and possibly the shot heard around the world. A shot's fired here, the soldiers all get nervous, they start firing, and within minutes, the entire Sioux population is destroyed, and this is known as Wounded Knee. And people cry out to remember Wounded Knee. All right, so Native Americans had fought back the Civil War again. Okay, we're still fighting, but now we're fighting with Native Americans. It's the first settlers versus the newer settlers, um, and it's an unequal war. The weaponry is not, fair. It's bows and arrows versus guns, and eventually we will, or the Americans will win out in the war. Here's some artistic depictions of the battles, kind of sporadic looking, people all over the place. So there's some more. Just to give you an idea of maybe what an artist's interpretation of what the battle could have been like. You can see that even the Indians, red eyes and the horses, and then the Indians on the horseback in firing guns. So they did have some modern weapons, but it was no match for the larger weapons that the Americans would have had. And here's a little sign: never forget Wounded Knee, because this is when, the complete destruction of the Sioux tribe. All right, and so the final battle of the Indian Wars is the buffalo slaughter. So as we come to the plains, we start to destroy buffalo in huge numbers. We have railroads that are now connecting to the Midwest. Buffalo hunters get there. They're known as, and then we also have city slickers who will go in and they and hunt the buffalo and kill them in droves. They're just absolutely slaughtered. We started with 15 million buffalo, and by the time these guys are done with it, there's only 15,000 left, and they become an endangered species later on, and now they're protected and you can't hunt them anymore. But these Native Americans, their lifeblood was taken away, and now are forced to basically bow down to the Americans and live on these reservations. And it's really kind of funny because now they were taken care of by their invaders. So they invaded them, and now they have to basically rely on them to live. And the government gives these reservations subsidies and whatnot. So a little picture of the buffalo slaughter. You can see the enormous amount of skins here. This is ridiculous. 40,000 buffalo hides, so there's no rhyme or reason. They just kill every single one they could in order to get as much profit as possible. When we talked about big business and whatnot, doing anything you can to make money, this was their method of making money. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.